Since there haven't been any new challenges for a while, I feel like the mode hasn't been talked about as much, but it's a pretty interesting idea that introduced a lot of different ways to play the game, and so I figure I'd take a look back on all of them. How good were these really, and what are my favorites? If you enjoyed this list, consider subscribing, and let's get right into it. Oh, I will say real quick that I'm not going to rank the new season or monthly challenge. That's just the base game with the ranking at the end. You can't trick me. First up at number 21 is all challenges where you're locked to a specific class of main weapon. I don't think these are bad by any means, but compared to how some of the other ones shake up the game, they're just kind of bland. It is fun to see a chargers only room sometimes, but it's not something you couldn't just do on your own in a PB. Number 20, Super Jumpathon. In this challenge, you can only pick beacon weapons, and your super jumps are a lot faster. If there were more beacon weapons, I might enjoy this more, but I don't think too many beacon weapons get creative uses out of their own beacons, and there are plenty of weapons that would benefit a lot from fast jumping that you just can't pick in this challenge, so it feels pretty limited because of that. Number 19, Splat Bomb Rush. In this challenge, Splat Bomb is cheaper. It's a cool reference to the Bomb Rush special that isn't brought back in this game, but it will mostly just evolve into a bunch of juniors throwing 4 bombs at you, which is fun for a little bit, but not for a long time. Number 18, Making It Rain Here. This puts the Rainmaker into Turf War, which it's kind of cool to be able to use the Rainmaker without having to actually deal with the objective in any way. But again, I feel like the novelty on this wears off pretty fast. The Rainmaker isn't particularly fun or special compared to its incarnation in Splatoon 1, so I just don't think it feels that powerful to control. I think it would have been way more interesting to have the Rainmaker in an actual ranked mode. Think about its interactions with the tower, or in Splat Zones, or Clam Blitz. I feel like those have more interesting interactions than in Turf War, where it's basically just a different main weapon and nothing more, which is fine, I just think its potential is higher. Number 17, Too Many Trizookas. In general, the have a bunch of your special weapon challenges fall in about the middle of the road to me. I think they would be way more fun if you just got constant access or an indefinite version of them, but getting a lot of them isn't bad by any means. I think Trizookas probably feels a bit more boring than usual, because a lot of it just devolved into just dying to the giant outside hitbox, which I guess is different in the most recent patch, so maybe it'll feel better afterward. Overall, just not the strongest choice in my opinion. Number 16, Foggy Notion. This adds fog and Turf War that will gradually increase and decrease the amount of space you can see, which is pretty interesting, but the brightness of this challenge makes it really difficult to enjoy for me, which is kind of a big downside and the reason it's down here. It's pretty creative outside of that, it just hurts my eyes to play it. Number 15, Towering Tower Control. This is tower control with a giant tower, which is alright. It does change up the dynamic a little bit, but honestly not as much as I thought it would, and the map selection still feels pretty limited. Which is the case for most options, but here having a lot of unique tower jumps due to the very different tower could have really saved this mode. Number 14, Reef Slider Rally. This is a very simple challenge because the only counter to Reef Slider if you can't get out of the way in time is to just pop your own Reef Slider, so you'll just have a bunch of Reef Slider chains, and those are funny. But that's about it. Number 13, Ultra Stamp Rally. This one has a pretty unique dynamic because obviously Thrown Hammer has way more risk, but the Rush mode can actually eat the Thrown Hammer, which is pretty cool. So it has a bit of dynamic fun between it, and I think the stamp weapons have a lot more variance between them. Number 12, Work the Angles. What if everybody got a mini E-liter? That's what this challenge is. Yeah, it's pretty fun sometimes, but eventually getting one shot across the map gets a little bit tiring. I will give this credit for how drastically differently the mode feels though. Number 11, I'm combining the 3 different Sheldon sampler challenges, which basically just randomize your weapon and sometimes randomize your gear. They're basically random weapon matches, but paired with matchmaking, which is pretty fun and can lead to some interesting data on what weapons are most unfriendly to new players. So that's kind of cool. And I think it's always fun to have everyone just using a bunch of random stuff, but it honestly depends on how much you enjoy using a variety of weapons, which for me is sometimes. Number 10, Zip to It. One of my favorite special only challenges, and Zipcaster is a pretty good pick for it. This is another one that would be way higher if you just had an infinite use case of the special, but I still think is pretty fun. Zipcaster weapons have a good variety of options to pick, and fighting Zipcasters with your own is really interesting. Not as much as number 9 though, Inkjets for everyone. This one can be a little snowball heavy, but having Inkjet fights is amazingly fun. Once again, one that would benefit a lot more from having an infinite duration, but trying to snipe other Inkjets with your Inkjet is practically never something you'd want to go go for. This is kind of your one excuse to have those kind of fights, and it's very fun. That said, my favorite special challenge is number 8, Bucket of Crab Tanks, because Crab is different in this one. The strafe speed is significantly increased in this, which makes Crab 1v1 significantly more fun and unique. I really like this twist and honestly wish we saw it more often. Number 7, Dynamic Duos. I really wish this challenge was in PBs, because it really enhances the 2v2 mode to have the faster respawn. It feels a lot more fair. This definitely depends on how competitive you are, because I think this mode does gear towards actually trying to win more than anything else, but if you want to go for it, it's pretty fun to just be able to pair with one friend and have a much more better feeling game than normal 2v2s. Number 6, Swim It to Win It. This is just the really fast swim speed, which is very fun, but in terms of things that make you fast, there are better options on this list. I guess the difference is this one does allow you to pick pretty much any weapon and have access to that max speed. Some definitely benefit more than others, but I think in general the challenge is very fun. And number 5 is Oh My Gush. This is the Gushers challenge. I wish some better stages were picked for this too, but there's still a lot of creative jumps and movement you could do that make the 2 stages they picked, Scorch and Eeltail, feel a lot more fun. In general, seeing single player mechanics and multiplayer stages is something I want more often in the next game, and this is probably the best place they use it in this game, which is a little bit sad, but hey, it's kind of fun. And number 4, Curling Bomb Hurl. This is giant, expensive, deadly curling bombs, which are kind of a throwback to old Curling Bomb before it got nerfed. Kind of. I think this is a little bit more creative than the angle shooter one because it really depends on how you use the curling bombs itself, and having a variety of ways to use it, such as following the curling bomb or cooking it a little bit, just means that the gameplay becomes a little bit more varied. We're on to the top 3, and these are by far my favorite. Whenever these appear in challenges, I will generally try to play them. First up at number 3, modded Rainmaker Test Fire. Remember how I said the Rainmaker felt underwhelming? Yeah, not in this mode. A 30-second timer that ensures you can't camp it, but having a super-powered Rainmaker is incredibly fun. On top of that, you get tactical respawn, so it's very easy to grab it and get back into the action fast, and you move really quickly. This is just a super powered Rainmaker mode that I find incredibly fun to play. Number 2, Full Steam Ahead. Imagine the swim speed challenge, but instead of swimming, you're running around with a roller or brush. Is it a little biased to the rollers that can one-hit kill? Probably, but it's still incredibly fun regardless. Just running around the stage at Mach speed can really just lead to some of the most hilarious moments, and I honestly just find it really fun. It's one of the best ways to just completely goof off and take the game non-seriously. That said, number 1 is what everyone expects. Extreme Jump Challenge. Because of course this one was going to win. This is a mode that literally makes the maps feel more playable, and the maps of Umami and Museum that they use it on have a lot of creative ways to use it. Outside of the shortcuts, I think the gimmick is still pretty fun. You can utilize it differently depending on the weapon you're on, and it does put a little bit more of a penalty on jumping since it slows you down much more drastically than it would just swimming normally. But short hops give you a way to work around this. Ultimately, it leads to really creative gameplay that also allow you to finally just move around the stages, which is incredibly fun to play. And with that said, that's my ranking of every challenge. I've enjoyed the feature as a whole, especially some of the higher end challenges on this list, and I want to know what you guys think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Oh, and hey, if you made it to the outro, check out this video on a Splatoon 4 Tacticooler. See you all next time.